Will we see arrests, illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests?
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
Yeah, that's why the Democrats are going crazy, because they've allowed, by what they did, and
the Senate Democrats have put forward 7 standalone bills to fund TSA, and there have been 10 bills that would have funded TSA, CISA, Coast Guard, and FEMA. There was a discharge petition in the House the Democrats brought forward last week that the Republicans refused to sign on to. And saying that Donald Trump is the one who gave an off-ramp, John Thune went to him this weekend and said, we have a deal on this. I want this. I saw Ted Cruz is enthusiastic about it. And I know Ted Cruz loves to get an airport open in case he has somewhere to go.
Damn! Trump wants the American people to believe that Democrats caused the chaos that we are seeing at airports across the country. Well, it appears that narrative is crumbling. And don't just take it from me. This is coming from members in his own Republican Party.
Senator Cruz and I came up with a plan. We said, look, it's a 2-step process. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no.
Airports across the country are dealing with massive staffing shortages at the TSA, leading to hours-long security lines and widespread disruption. Now, this is tied to a funding standoff in Washington, in which Senate Republicans have blocked Democratic proposals to fund TSA and other Department of Homeland Security functions, with multiple bills failing to pass despite focusing solely on keeping airport security operations running.
Democrats' position has not changed. We want to pay TSA workers today. We're ready to meet with the White House today to keep talking. In fact, we were going to meet this morning with Tom Homan, but apparently the White House pulled that meeting because of Donald Trump's temper tantrum.
While appearing on Fox News, a veteran Republican senator revealed that Donald Trump killed a plan to reopen the Department of Homeland Security and get TSA workers paid by the end of the week. Senator John Kennedy told Fox host Will Cain that he and Republican colleague Ted Cruz had drawn up a 2-step path out of the shutdown. Kennedy said that the president rejected it point blank.
And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no. No deals with the Democrats. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week, but the president said no deal.
A few moments later.
So Senator Cruz and I, a few days ago, came up with a 2-step process to solve both problems. Step 1, we would open up everything at DHS except ICE, including TSA, which the Democrats have already agreed to, and then we would fund ICE through reconciliation, which we could do only with Republican votes. We wouldn't need any Democratic votes. I don't speak for Senator Cruz on this part of it, but I also have suggested that we use the reconciliation process with only Republican votes to pass the SAVE Act. Now, we pitched this to Senator Thune a couple of days ago. He pitched it to President Trump. President Trump, as you know from his tweets, said no. But I talked to Senator Thune last night, and he says the president has reconsidered and may be on board. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know for certain.
That's a bit of a...
And this public admission comes a day after the Daily Beast reported that Senate Majority Leader John Thune had taken a similar everything but ICE proposal to Trump, only for the president to shoot it down. And the thing is, somehow it makes the president look dumber, right? When he's out here publicly blaming Democrats for something that his own Republican Party have admitted is Trump's doing.
You're at the front of a storm. The Democrats have caused lots of problems at the airports and all other places too. We shouldn't be in this position, especially when we're in conflict elsewhere. But how are you doing and how is ICE doing at the airports and helping out?
Sir, to just have the opportunity to help our other fellow officers at Department of Homeland Security. We're doing great. We're going to make sure that your promise is kept, that we're going to help those lines move, and we're going to make people safe. And no one should be nervous to go to the airport, because we're going to make sure that every traveler in spring break has a safe journey.
Mr. President, you've deployed ICE agents to American airports today. Newsmax, sir. You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a very good job.
You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go ahead.
What exactly do you want from these calls?
You believe in taking CNN over Newsmax?
What exactly are you looking for?
Speaking of dumb, well, watch the reaction from 4 out of the 5 Fox News, the 5 hosts, as Jessica Tarlov outlined this very point regarding their fearless cult leader.
Well, it's only been a few days of the almost Mark Wayne Mullen era.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know.
So I don't know.
Since 2 months that they.
Oh yeah. Well, I was, very openly happy that Tom Homan was sent into Minneapolis and that there was an acknowledgement, albeit quieter, on the part of the president, though Tom Homan voiced it, that the way ICE was being run was unacceptable. And what Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller and Greg Bovino were doing was out of line, and there are dead Americans as a result.
Well, that's my point, though. All 3 of those people are gone. Why wouldn't the Democrats just say, let's claim victory,
because
to fight another day, instead of doing this to the TSA agents and the traveling public?
The Senate Democrats have put forward 7 standalone bills to fund TSA, and there have been 10 bills that would have funded TSA, CISA, Coast Guard, and FEMA. There was a discharge petition in the House the Democrats brought forward last week that the Republicans refused to sign on to. And saying that Donald Trump is the one who gave an off-ramp, John Thune went to him this weekend and said, we have a deal on this. I want this. I saw Ted Cruz is enthusiastic about it. And I know Ted Cruz loves to get an airport open in case he has somewhere to go. But they were offering him, saying, we can get ICE funding done through reconciliation. We just need 51 votes for that. We have the numbers. We can reopen the airports the way that you need them to be. We can fund FEMA, CISA, Coast Guard, et cetera. And Donald Trump said, no, I want the Save America Act, which you acknowledged last week, Dana, is not going to get passed. John Thune says it's not going to get passed.
Abolishing ICE.
And it's not, but that's not what Democrats are talking about right now. They're saying, you want to fund it, just fund it. There are bills on the floor to be able to do that. Republicans are refusing to do it. And the Save America Act is not a voter ID bill. It is a citizenship bill. The American public knows that. If you said you can show any ID when you show up to vote, people would go for that. If you say that you need to register with your passport or your birth certificate, that is not going to happen. And I've said it before, it's going to disadvantage Republican voters than Democratic voters, and none of them are illegal, in case you were going there, Jesse.
In addition,
it's been reported that almost 3,500 TSA officers, nearly 12% of the workforce, did not show up for work over this past weekend, while more than 400 workers have quit since the shutdown began in mid-February. And instead of reversing course and funding the TSA, the administration chose a workaround idea. We'll send ICE agents into the airports, because ICE, well, they always solve problems. Am I right?
Whose idea was that to put ICE in the airport?
We're dealing really.
Whose idea was it?
Mine. That was mine. That was like the paperclip. You know the story of the paperclip? 182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that? ICE was my idea.
Regardless of the fact that they are not trained as TSA screeners, and as we've seen in the past, are known to take high-stress situations and, well, catapult them into full-fledged chaos.
It's definitely the Republicans' fault, especially with the, what I want to say about the SAVE Act, though. People got to, in the red states, they have to realize, like,
well, let's go back to your initial. Why is it Republicans' fault?
Because they already, they have the power to move. They can move money, like they take money from Social Security. I'm on Social Security. They take money from Social Security and they put it in other places. Well, if ICE has all these billions of dollars from the big, beautiful bill, and you need money for TSA agents and the Coast Guard, then move the money around. Take that money that's already more than ICE can use. Why do you need more money? And that's the thing. They want more money for ICE. ICE already has more money than they can spend. And they're holding up the Coast Guard and TSA just to get more money for ICE. But ICE has already been funded pass whatever. That's what, and they don't want to fund ICE because of the murders of the 2 people in Minnesota. And, you know, they just don't want to even investigate that.
For weeks, the administration tried to blame Democrats for this shutdown, right? But that narrative, it's clearly getting harder to sustain when you now have Republican senators admitting that a deal existed before Trump killed it. It's confirmation that Trump doesn't care about the American worker, and clear evidence of the consequences is on show. And at that point, it's no longer a partisan argument, right? It's a documented decision that whatever transpires at these airports is Trump's doing.
And so what's happening today in America that should outrage everybody? He's taking this very same agency that has been bursting into our schools, into our churches, into our hospitals, into our courts, and even into the homes of Americans. He's taking that agency that is reckless and out of control and bringing them to our airports, under the lie that somehow this is going to help deal with the long lines that he created in the first place. This is an outrage. We should not have an agency that America doesn't trust, an agency that literally has seen violence against Americans, an agency that is tearing away American families, tearing apart American families, and arresting and detaining Americans and violating due process rights and civil rights.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.